Hello and welcome to this lesson. This lesson is going to be about key features from graphs, tables, list of ordered pairs, and equations. The key features we're going to be looking at are y-intercepts, x-intercepts, and zeros. Please note that zeros is pretty much the same as x-intercepts. So this will be our goal of today, to learn how to identify key features. So let's begin. We're going to begin with graphs. So let's begin. We're going to identify the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and the zero using this graph right here. So y-intercept, we learned, is where the line touches the y-axis. So right there is the y-intercept. And we're going to identify the points. So we're going to open parentheses, and the first coordinate will be 0 and the number will be 4. So the x value is 0 and the y value is 4, because you go up 1, 2, and notice that these are counting by 2's. Okay, for the x-intercept is where the line touches the x-axis, so right there is the point. So our coordinate is going to be 10, 0, because we go 10 units to the right, okay, and we don't go up nor down. Please remember, when we write points, the first number represents the horizontal movement and the second number represents the vertical movement. So in this case, I went 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 units to the right, so 10, and then I didn't go up nor down, so that is 0. Okay, on the first case, I didn't go right or left, okay, or left or right, and then I went up 4 units, so then 4. Now for the 0 is pretty much just the x value of the x-intercept. So you're just going to write the number 10. Okay, so basically is the first term right there on the parentheses. Okay, let's do another example. Here we have a graph, and we're going to find the y-intercept. So again, the y-intercept here is f4. So we're going to write the coordinates 0, 4. For the x-intercept, the point is right there between 2 and 3. So 2 and 4. So that means that's the number 3. And it's going to be 3, 0, because I went 3 to the right and I stayed there. And then for the 0, it's just, remember, it's just the first number right there, so it'll be 3. Okay, very well. So this is finding the key features from a graph. So these are the key features that we're going to find: y-intercept, x-intercept, and 0. Alright, let's go to the next part of the lesson. We're going to look at tables. We're going to find the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and the 0. Please remember that y-intercept always will have a 0 for x. So y-intercept will have a 0 for x. So you're going to go here to the table and you're going to look for the 0. And then right there next to it is your y value for the y-intercept. So then we write 4 there. And then for the x-intercept, please remember the y value of the x-intercept is always 0. So on the table, we're going to look for the 0 on the y column. And right there we find that the x-intercept is 10, 0. And please remember the 0 is just the x value from the x-intercept. Okay, it's not the first value there. So let's do another example. Let's find the y-intercept. Please remember the x value for the y-intercept is 0. So we look for the 0, and then right there is our y value, which is 15. And then for the x-intercept, always remember that the y value is 0. So that means you're going to look at the right through there, find the 0. And then we know now that the x value is negative 10. So then right there our 0 is -10. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the list of ordered pairs. Please remember that y-intercept, the x value is 0. So with that, we find the ordered pair there that has 0 for x, so that would be 0, 5. And then for the x-intercept, please always remember that the y value is always 0, so then we find the ordered pair that has the y equals 0, so in this case it would be -2, 0, and the 0 is always the x value there. Alright, let's find the y-intercept. Please remember 0 for the x, so we find it's going to be 0, -2. For the x-intercept, we always remember the 0 for y, so then we find the ordered pair to be 14, 0. And the 0 is always the first number there. So please remember, y-intercept, you're going to have a 0 for x. X-intercept, you're going to have a 0 for y. Okay? Alright, let's continue. Now we're going to do equations. Please remember, on the y-intercept, the x value is 0. With that in mind, we're going to copy the equation, but instead of x, we're going to substitute the x value with 0. And then we're going to solve the equation. 6 times 0 is 0, so we don't have to write the 0. So we're just going to write -5y equals 30. And now I'll be able to solve for y by dividing both sides by -5. And this would be y equals -6. So that means my y-intercept is going to be 0, -6. For the x-intercept, let me change the colors here. For the x-intercept, remember the y value is going to be always 0. So then you copy the equation, but instead of y, you're going to replace it with a 0. Then 5 times 0 is 0, so we don't have to write that. So we just write 6x equals 30. Now we solve by dividing by 6. X equals 5. So then we know that our x-intercept is going to be 5, 0. Okay, so let's do another example here. For the y value, y-intercept, please remember that the x value is always 0. So that means when you copy the equation, you're going to replace x with 0. And then 3 times 0 is 0, so we cancel that. And we have 6y equals 15. And we divide both sides by 6, and we find y to be a decimal. So remember to use that special key on the decimals calculator that has like the little 2 circles. Looks like a fraction. So when you click that, you'll find out that 15/6 reduces to 5/2. So you write that over here. So that's our y-intercept. For the x-intercept, always remember the y value is 0. So that means when we copy the equation, instead of y, we put a 0. We can go ahead and cancel that because 6 times 0 is 0. So we're left with 3x equals 15. We'll divide both sides by 3. So x equals 5. So that means the x-intercepts will be 5. And our 0 will be 5. That reminds me, I forgot to do the other first example there. And that one happens to be 5 as well. So there we go. Today we learned how to identify the key features from graphs, tables, list of ordered pairs, and equations. Also note that we learned about key features that the y-intercept, please always remember that the x value is going to be 0, and for the x-intercept, the y value is always going to be 0. And always remember the zeros is the same as x-intercept, which is the x value right there for the x-intercept. So there we go. This has been our lesson today. I hope this lesson was helpful. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.